May 1940. 400,000 Allied troops trapped at Dunkirk, German Panzers, just 10 miles away. Then Hitler gives an order that will haunt the Third Reich forever. But why would the Führer stop his unstoppable war machine at the moment of total victory? September 1, 1939. Adolf Hitler unleashes a new form of warfare on Poland, Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War. In just 27 days, Poland falls. For the next 7 months, an eerie quiet descends upon Europe, the so-called phony war. Allied forces, confident behind their fortifications, wait for a German attack that never seems to come. The silence is shattered on April 9, 1940. Denmark is conquered in 6 hours. Norway falls in 2 months. The Nazi war machine is on the move again. On May 10th, the main event begins. The Wehrmacht strikes west, executing a daring plan codenamed Fall Gelb, Case Yellow. 56 divisions, 3,000 tanks, and 2,000 aircraft are thrown into the assault. The French High Command believes their Maginot Line, a chain of concrete fortresses stretching along the German border, is impenetrable. They expect a repeat of World War I, a slow, grinding battle in the fields of Belgium. They are catastrophically wrong. The main German thrust doesn't come through Belgium, but through the Ardennes Forest, a hilly and wooded region Allied military experts had dismissed as impassable for a modern armored army. General Heinz Guderian's Panzers proved them wrong. In just 72 hours, they punched through the forest and crossed the Meuse River at Sedan, shattering the French defensive line. To the north, the Luftwaffe makes its presence felt. On May 14th, the city of Rotterdam is obliterated from the air. The Netherlands surrenders. By May 15th, with the breakthrough at Sedan complete, the entire French front collapses. Allied command is paralyzed by confusion, their communications in tatters, their strategy obsolete. Instead of turning to fight, Guderian's tanks race west, executing a maneuver that will become known as the sickle cut. They are not aiming for Paris. They are aiming for the English Channel to trap the best of the Allied armies now fighting in Belgium. The British and French forces, realizing the danger too late, begin a desperate retreat toward the coast. By May 21st, the trap is sprung. German panzers reach the Channel coast. The Allies are surrounded. 400,000 men, British, French, and Belgian, are pinned into a rapidly shrinking pocket around the port of Dunkirk, their backs to the English Channel. There is no escape, no reinforcements, and seemingly no hope. The greatest military disaster in British history is unfolding. May 23rd, 1940. After just 2 weeks of a lightning war that has shattered Europe, the German war machine stands on the brink of its greatest triumph. General Guderian's 1992nd Panzer Corps is a mere 10 miles from Dunkirk, the last viable port of escape for the encircled British Expeditionary Force and elements of the French First Army. The trap is sprung. The pocket is closing. For the nearly 400,000 men trapped on the coast, annihilation seems inevitable. For the Germans, total victory is hours away. An order comes down from the highest level, from Adolf Hitler himself. The Panzers are to stop. It will become known as the Halt Order. A decision so baffling, so consequential, it remains one of the most debated moments of the entire war. For 48 crucial hours, the most powerful armored force on Earth sits motionless. On the ground, German generals are incredulous, some even considering defying the command. They can see the prize, yet are forbidden from seizing it. Why? Why grant your cornered enemy a reprieve? The answer is not a single reason, but a complex web of ego, caution, and political miscalculation. Theory 1. The vanity of Hermann Göring. The commander of the Luftwaffe, Hitler's designated successor, sees a golden opportunity. He promises the Führer that his air force alone can deliver the final blow. He argues it is a task for the ideologically pure National Socialist air arm, not the traditionalist, aristocratic army generals he so despised. Göring wants the glory for the Luftwaffe and for himself. Hitler, ever fascinated by the spectacle of air power, believes him. But the weather over Flanders does not cooperate. Official logs from May 24th and 25th show persistent low cloud, rain, and fog. These conditions ground most German aircraft. The Luftwaffe flies hundreds of sorties when the weather permits, but their effectiveness is minimal. The soft, sandy beaches absorb the impact of many bombs, and the Royal Air Force, fighting desperately from bases just across the Channel, inflicts significant losses. The Luftwaffe fails. Theory 2. Military prudence and tank preservation. The commander of Army Group A, General Gerd von Rundstedt, is deeply concerned. He warns Hitler that the Panzers are dangerously overextended. The terrain ahead, a network of canals and marshland, is unsuitable for a massed tank assault. It is perfect defensive ground, where the British could inflict heavy, unnecessary losses on his precious armor. His concerns are valid. After the relentless drive to the sea, maintenance reports show that up to 50% of the tanks need repairs. Fuel and ammunition supplies are stretched to the breaking point. The Battle of France is not over yet. A massive French force is still maneuvering to the south. The tanks will be needed for the final push on Paris. Risking them in the Flanders marshes seems, to Rundstedt and other cautious commanders, a strategic blunder. Hitler agrees to pause and consolidate. Theory 3. The political calculation. Perhaps the most intriguing theory is that Hitler never wanted a protracted war with the British Empire. Some historians believe he deliberately allowed the British army to escape. His reasoning? Annihilating their army at Dunkirk would be a national humiliation so profound that Britain, under the defiant Winston Churchill, would never negotiate. By showing a degree of magnanimity, by allowing the soldiers to return home, he might empower a peace faction in London and encourage a diplomatic solution. Hitler's ultimate strategic goal was always eastward, toward the Soviet Union. He still hoped Britain, its army chastened but intact, might eventually become a neutral party, or even an ally, in his crusade against communism. It was a monumental misreading of the British character and of Churchill. Whatever the primary reason, Göring's ego, Rundstedt's caution, or Hitler's flawed diplomacy, the result was the same. The pause gives Britain a gift it could never have expected. 48 hours. 48 hours to attempt the impossible. May 26, 1940. With the British Expeditionary Force cornered, its back to the sea, a desperate plan is set in motion from a command post deep beneath Dover Castle. Operation Dynamo begins. Vice Admiral Bertram Ramsay, tasked with the impossible, orchestrates the evacuation. The initial assessment is grim. With the port of Dunkirk heavily damaged by bombing, the Royal Navy expects to save 30,000 men, maybe 40,000, over 2 days, before the German advance makes any further rescue impossible. Then something extraordinary happens. A call goes out across Britain, broadcast by the BBC, for all owners of self-propelled pleasure craft between 30 and 100 feet to register their vessels with the Admiralty. 861 vessels answer the call. Destroyers, fishing boats, pleasure yachts, river ferries. This impromptu armada, the little ships, becomes the lifeline. Their shallow draft allows them to reach the men stranded on the beaches, ferrying them out to the larger naval ships waiting in deeper water. Civilian captains, weekend sailors and seasoned fishermen alike, sail into hell to save their army. The Luftwaffe attacks relentlessly. Stuka dive bombers and Heinkel medium bombers target the ships and the exposed soldiers on the sand. The Royal Navy pays a heavy price. 6 British destroyers sunk, 19 damaged. In total, 243 ships are lost to enemy action and the treacherous waters. But the evacuation continues. The process is a grueling, around-the-clock effort, dictated by the tides, day and night. For 9 days, the boats keep coming. Men wade for hours in shoulder-deep water. Others queue for a chance to board from the fragile eastern mole, a narrow breakwater that becomes an improvised pier. The RAF fights desperately overhead. Flying from bases in southern England, they are at the very edge of their operational range. 145 aircraft are lost. Many soldiers on the beaches, seeing only the German bombers, feel abandoned. But the air battle rages, largely unseen, high above the clouds. The pilots buy precious time. Spitfires and Hurricanes hold back the Luftwaffe. Just enough. They inflict heavy losses, preventing the German Air Force from halting the evacuation entirely. June 4th, 1940. The operation reaches its climax. The rearguard, mostly French soldiers who fought bravely to defend the perimeter, are the last to be taken. The last soldier boards the last boat. Against all odds, 338,000 men are saved. A miracle of deliverance. The British Army survives, battered, exhausted, and without its heavy equipment, but alive to fight another day. Hitler's Halt Order, combined with the resilience of the Royal Navy, the courage of civilian sailors, and the sacrifice of the RAF, has given Britain its army back. But this was not a victory. It was a colossal military disaster, turned into a symbol of national defiance. Churchill calls it a miracle, but he warns, wars are not won by evacuations. Britain stands alone now, and Hitler turns his eyes east, toward the Soviet Union. But first, Japan will make a move that brings America into the war. Watch Part 2.